Evergrande Crisis Explained. Why the world is worried. The Evergrande Crisis. It's the one piece of news that has been appearing everywhere on the internet. Yes, China has never witnessed any crisis like Evergrande. This crisis will definitely have a negative impact on the Chinese economy, so it would be interesting to see how China tackles the situation. In this video, we will talk all about the Evergrande crisis. We will also talk about how this crisis can affect the world economy and why the world is so worried about it. So make sure to watch it to the end of the video because we wouldn't want you to miss this out. But before we do, please make sure to hit that like button for 365 days of good luck. Let's get on with it. To start, Evergrande is the second largest property developer in China and it has the biggest sales in terms of property sales in the country. The Evergrande Group owns 565 million square meters of development land and real estate projects in 22 cities. They have $360 billion in total assets, which represents around 2% of China's total GDP. The company has also other operations and investments in various fields like electric vehicles. But the situation has completely changed now and the company is at its worst low. It all started in September 2021 when Evergrande Group began experiencing a default crisis. Experts and analysts were claiming that the company was at risk of running out of money and unable to pay all of its debts. This company is very close to going bankrupt. Over the course of time, they have accumulated around $330 billion in liabilities. This might seem like a very big number, but it's pretty common for real estate developers to have a lot of debt. This is because real estate gets very attractive interest rates, and generally speaking, mortgage interest rates are lower than most of the other interest lending rates. Now, talking about the Evergrande Group, they are the most indebted company in the whole world. It comes to no surprise that this debt is not something that hasn't occurred overnight, but rather, the company has been accumulating the money to expand its real estate business. With time, they were borrowing more and more to buy more assets and build more buildings. Unfortunately, it seems like their tactics have backfired. Back in August 2020, the government decided to crack down on leverage in the real estate industry to help prevent a future financial crisis. To do so, they introduced what is called the 3 red lines to measure a company's debt tolerance. Any company that violated these lines would face certain restrictions on its debt, and sadly, Evergrande violated all 3 lines. In turn, Evergrande is no longer allowed to grow its debt balance, which places them in quite the predicament as most of the company's buildings are still in the construction phase. Evergrande has got markets on the edge. The company's struggles will have big repercussions on global investors as well as on the world economy. In recent times, the company has been selling their assets at heavy discounts to get financing for its business. However, the heavy discount raised doubts in customers' minds, and so they all pulled back. Now, apart from the debt issue, Evergrande is also struggling to sell some of its assets, including real estate properties. Evergrande is due to make an $83.53 million coupon payment on an offshore dollar bond. Not to forget the total $669 million in coupon payments throughout the end of the year. And next year, the company should pay back $7.4 billion in maturing debt. This clearly proves that the company is far away from its goal and won't be able to pay back the huge amount within the given time. But the question arises, why is China so worried about Evergrande? Bankruptcies happen. So what makes China so worried? Well, if Evergrande goes bankrupt, then it would result in a massive economic disaster in China. It would also affect the stakeholders, and not to forget that the general population is also involved here. Currently, the company has $1.5 million in deposits for buildings it has yet to deliver. The company also operates a financial services firm that may not be able to pay people's money back, given that the money deposited was being used for these developments. If Evergrande is forced to fire sale all of its properties, then the prices of other real estate properties will also depress and the real estate market will face a big hit. Currently, the real estate market represents 29% of the total GDP of China. Now, imagine how big the impact would be if anything goes wrong with Evergrande. The company is not only a big buyer, but a big employer as well. So if we remove Evergrande from the system, the supply chain will take a hit. The whole economic world of China will collapse and restrict its growth to a great extent. Banks, on their part, will become more reluctant to lend money to startups and companies looking to expand. Investors would also face a big hit with their personal portfolios, as they would lose all that money they have invested in Evergrande to date. Another important thing about which investors are concerned about is the contagion effect. For those who don't know, the contagion effect explains the possibility of the spread of economic crisis or boom across countries or regions. And this might happen if Evergrande goes bankrupt. If Evergrande misses its obligations, the people that those obligations are meant for may have their own obligations that they need to meet as well. So they will, in turn, sell their assets to meet their own obligations. This will create a selling effect, and this effect can, in turn, impact anything that those people hold, starting from stocks to cryptocurrencies. Most recently, you can find footage from social media showing crowds protesting in front of the Chinese real estate developer Evergrande. You can also see small investors surrounded by security guards as they try to enter the company's headquarters in Shenzhen. In recent days, the company has been facing complaints from small investors, unpaid suppliers, and people that are unhappy because the property they have purchased has not been completed yet. Because of high complaints and mass protests around the company, security has been stepped up in headquarters. In total, if we sum up everything, then Evergrande owes more than a whopping $300 billion. Yes, that is the amount Evergrande owes. Evergrande, on their part, has said that they will try to reimburse the people and resume construction. In a memo on September 21st, Evergrande's chairman, Hu Ka-yan, acknowledged the issues that the company faces but vowed to push through the pain. So let's see what happens next and hope for the best. How about you guys? What do you think about the whole situation? Let us know about it and share your views in the comment section down below. Well, that's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing videos from the Wealthy Brains.